WagerTalk Today. I am Andy from WagerTalk.com. Thanks for joining us. It's a Monday in July, and that's what this show is. We've got MLB, we've got soccer, we've got CFL. Teddy covers. It's an interesting time of year. We already had somebody in the chat mention. I guess I'm going to start looking at NFL futures because there's not a whole lot going on. I know you're neck deep in NFL futures. Before we bring on all of our guests, what's your mindset this time of year? I'm always interested for guys that have been doing it for so long and have had so much success. What's your mindset this time of year?
So July is the time of the year where I get all the projects that I put off all the rest of the year done. You know, I'm doing my taxes, for example, which I put them off back in April. You know, absolutely. This is especially for me, because now my NFL prep is rearview mirror. You know, now we're just waiting for the regular season or the preseason to start. So I feel real good about where I am in the NFL. So when July rolls around, it's get the stuff done that you need to get done because August is right here. It'll be here in a blink. And of course, on today's show, we're not worried about August. We're worried about July. Ross Benjamin is going to join us at the top. He's going to talk a couple in MLB, the Angels and the Rangers, the Cardinals and the Nationals. Jesse Schule is going to join us next. We're going to talk Euro 2024, England versus Netherlands, and Canadian football, Toronto versus Montreal. My big game breakdown, we'll talk Guardians and Tigers and MLB, and Carmine Bianco is going to close out the show. He's going to talk Spain versus France, Argentina versus Canada, a pair of soccer selections. So, yeah, we're MLB and soccer heavy in this show, but you know how it is, Andy. Football just around the corner.
It is amazing. Football is undisputed king, no doubt about it. So looking forward to NFL content coming out. But it is MLB season, so let's bring in Ross Benjamin. We're going to talk a couple of games. Ross, welcome. I hope all is well with you. First game we're going to talk about is the Angels and the Rangers. What do you like in this game, and what do you see is the value side on this one?
Well, hello, Andy, and thank you for having me. Hello, Theodore. I hope all is well. You're looking at John Gray going tonight for the Rangers and Davis Daniel going for the LA Angels, referring to the starting pitching matchup. The Rangers off a 3-game home sweep of the Rays. However, this is a Rangers team that's gone 0-3 this year on the road in their last 3 when coming off 3 wins in a row. So they really haven't fared well on the road coming in with a moderate win streak like they are now. In addition, the Rangers have lost 9 of their last 10 on the road. This is also a Rangers team since May the 10th of this year has gone 1-6 as a road favorite of -110 or greater. So they've been overvalued because of the year they had last year. They're not performing well on the road. John Gray, I mentioned, he's the starter for the Rangers, and 3 of his last 4 starts have just been brutal. And over those last 4 starts, he posted a 10.00 ERA, a 194 whip, and alarmingly 5 home runs in 18 innings pitched. And this is a Texas bullpen that doesn't figure to be much help. I mean, if you look at the bullpen statistics in Major League Baseball, the Texas bullpen 7th worst in both ERA and whip. Now, the Angels are coming off a 1-5 road trip. Not very good, no matter how you cut it. But this is a Angels team, that's won 6 of their last 7 at home. And they scored 5 runs or more in all 7 of those games. Davis Daniel gets a start for the Angels. He'll be making just his 3rd start of the season. He's been impressive in his first 2, going 13 1/3 innings pitched, posting a 2.70 ERA, an 0.90 whip, and he struck out 11 while walking only 1. He made his major league debut last year, in which he made 3 relief appearances, with a 2.19 ERA in those 3 relief appearances. So, he's accounted himself awful well when given the opportunity at the major league level. I like the Angels here. I know I say that. Sometimes you have to make an uncomfortable selection, Teddy, and this is one of those cases. I like the Angels here, especially at an underdog price of what I'm seeing at plus 125 right now over the Texas Rangers, who have been absolutely anemic on the road recently.
Sure, Texas certainly not a team anyone's excited about laying a price with. That being said, the markets seem to be excited about laying this price with Texas. We've seen a little bit of money this morning. I saw minus 135s at the open. Now I'm seeing minus 140, minus 145s, and even higher at some books. So it's clear the Rangers are taking some money. And obviously, you talked about LA playing good at home. I mean, the last homestand they had the A's and the Tigers. Since that last homestand, things have gone south. And you talk about a lineup that's not hitting. They've scored 0 or 1 run 4 times their last 5 ball games, and it's not like they've been facing aces. Does the Angels' current offensive woes concern you here, even at the plus price?
No, because as I mentioned, well, look, it's always concerning when recently they haven't put together much offense. However, as I pointed out in my analysis, their home and away splits recently have been drastic. They went 1-5 on that last road trip, but 6-1 in the last 7 at home, and in those 7 games, scoring 5 runs or more. They're facing a struggling starting pitcher in John Gray. And excuse me, I forgot your first question, Teddy. Just refresh my memory.
I was just saying that when you talk about the price for Texas tonight, it's an Angels team. I mean, they've been shut out 3 times in the last 5 games and held to a single run the 4th time. So
the money's going to Texas. Yeah, the money's going to Texas, as you pointed out, and that line has hardly moved. I mean, you're looking at Texas opened as a $1.40 favorite, and they're still around $1.40, $1.45, as I saw it from our odds page over at WagerTalk. So, to me, if that's not a lot of sharp money going that way, is what I'm trying to say.
Ross Benjamin, everyone. Ross, you've got some incredible streaks going on. 119 and 81 since July 14th on all sports weekday totals wagers. 90 and 70 since July 20th on MLB weekday picks. So MLB has been very, very kind to you and your clients. We've got one more game to talk about. We're going to take a look at the Cardinals. What do you like in the Cardinals and Nationals game?
Well, it'll be Miles Michaelis, I guess you pronounce it, going for the Cardinals, and it'll be Mitchell Parker for the Washington Nationals. Mitchell Parker, over his last 3 starts, not impressive, 5.82 ERA, and a lot of that has to do with his being vulnerable to giving up the long ball. He's allowed 5 home runs over those last 3 starts. The Nationals haven't really been playing good baseball of late. They've lost 9 of their last 13, and during those 13 games, allowing 5.8 runs per game. The Cardinals are 4-2 on their current road trip and 16-8 over their last 24 games overall, and that includes 8-5 in their last 13 on the road. So clearly, the Cardinals are the team playing the better baseball right now. Miles Michaelis has had 6 quality starts in a row on the road. Okay, so if you look at his performance line, you'll see he's been very shaky at home, Teddy, but on the road, he's put together 6 straight starts in which he's gone 6 innings or more and allowed 3 earned runs or less on each occasion. Specifically, his last 3 on the road, a 2.45 ERA, a 0.76 whip, 12 strikeouts, and did not walk a batter. So he's been really strong on the road, and especially so of late. Very intriguing price for me. I'm going to take the Cardinals minus 104 on the money line over the Washington Nationals.
So when we look at St. Louis against left-handers this year, they've had a fair few problems. Left-handers like Parker for the Nats today. My numbers show St. Louis, they have a 222 batting average against lefties. They have a 624 OPS. That ranks 29th out of 30 big league teams. Does that concern you here, the Cardinals' inability to hit lefties? And that's not a one-time thing. That's been basically from day one this season.
Yeah, it concerns me. But again, how many innings are you going to get out of Mitchell Parker here? And the Washington bullpen isn't exactly what I would call an elite staff. Secondly, there's a reason why the Cardinals are only minus 104 in this spot, despite what I see as an advantage, a big advantage, actually, in the starting pitching matchup based on what I just used in my analysis. And that's the reason I see this line being so cheap, Teddy. But it's a good point. It's not one that's I take lightly. But again, I look at the price and all the other factors that I just mentioned, and I'm pretty firm in my pick here on the Cardinals minus 104 over the Nats.
Ross Benjamin, everyone having a fantastic year. Ross, what do you have to promote today?
Yeah, again, Major League Baseball doing, again, a modest plus $800 since June 21st. And somebody told me that's not that good, Teddy. You know, and I like to do better, but you know what? We're talking over 3 weeks now. We're making a profit over that course of time, and it's only 18 and 14. But at the end of the day, when it's a 162 game schedule, folks, you have to grind it out, and it's about making money over the long haul. And I'm not going to be redundant. Andy just told you what my streaks are in Major League Baseball. You can go right to my page at wt.buzz/RB. You'll see all those streaks listed in Major League Baseball, some real good ones, folks. And they all over a long course of time. So that's the key. You know, it's not a small sample size. It's a pretty big one. And I'll make you money over the long haul. So there's a lot of good subscription plans going on right now, Andy. I think we got one going on for the next 30 days, if I'm not mistaken.
Absolutely, we do. And Ross, if you have a plus sign next to your record and your bankroll over the last 3 weeks, that's always a good thing. Nobody's complaining about having a plus sign next to it. So yeah, obviously we always want more, but man, I would not be upset if I had plus 800 there. So great work, Ross Benjamin. Thank you so much, and good luck on all your plays. Ross did mention the special that we have today, 30% off a 30-day pass, ends up being around $7 a day. Good for all handicappers at WagerTalk.com. It's the dog days of July, but there are plenty of profits out there on the board. Go check out all of the handicappers, myself included, Teddy included as well, even Ross Benjamin, Jesse Carmine, who are coming up later. It applies to all of them. Teddy, one of the funny things about our website is when you have a winning record and you go in and you see that you're number 4 on the leaderboard, so you don't quite make it onto the front page, and you're like, no, I'm winning. I'm having a great 7 days. And you're like, but we're just like, I just won one more play. So I'm number 4 in 7 days. So we had a great 7 days, and I got a 5% play that is up. It's a cross-sport parlay. We hit our cross-sport parlay again. We talked about it on Friday. No sweat winner. So we've got a 5% play that is up. How was your weekend, Teddy?
My weekend was not as good as last week. I'll tell you that. I was rolling into the weekend. This weekend wasn't a good one for the clients, unfortunately. But I do want to highlight that $7 per day weekly special. We had a huge response for it for 4th of July. So now we've done it for the entire month. $7 a day for the 30-day all access. It's normally priced $2.99. You can get it for $2.10 right now. And of course, that package includes every play in every sport from the handicapper of your choice, including any top-rated 5% plays like Andy Lang's today that typically sell for $35. So don't miss out on this special deal. I want to talk about Bronny James. Are we ready for that, Mr. Lang?
Absolutely. Who doesn't want to hear about Bronny James? And yes, this is the signal that it is a Monday in July. But listen, all sports stories are stories, and you've got a great angle on it. Let's hear it.
Well, look, this is about what bettors learned. All right, there has been a Bronny James story on the front page of ESPN.com every single day since the draft. Bronny signs a 4-year deal. Bronny's likely to play in the G League for much of his rookie year. Bronny scored 4 points in Lakers Summer League opener. Bronny has knee swelling. LeBron says that Bronny doesn't care about the critics. I mean, every day there's a Bronny James story right at the top. It's getting clicks. Know what you're reading. Bronny is a celebrity. He's not an athlete at this stage of his career. He's Kim Kardashian trying out for the Lakers. All right. We're going to continue to see Bronny stories as long as people continue to click on Bronny stories. This has been a hugely impactful NBA offseason. Lots of smaller market teams got a lot better. The Orlando Magic got better. The OKC Thunder looked like the best franchise in the West. The Spurs, true brilliance this offseason. Keep clicking those Bronny stories, guys, or choose your time wisely. Even in July, there's impactful sports betting news every day, all kinds of it. You doing NFL work right now? You can find stuff every day. College football every day. Bronny James stories are not a piece of that puzzle. It's clickbait. It's top 10 scariest movies of all time. Don't waste your time reading about Bronny James. There's other time. You make far better use of it in other ways. That's what I learned this weekend. All Bronny James, all the time, Andy.
I'm with you, Teddy, and I can't muster up a strong opinion on the entire situation with Bronny. It doesn't resonate with me, like one way or the other. I'm not, some people are outraged that the Lakers draft. Some people are happy to see. I just can't quite get too passionate about it. Does it resonate with you at all, or is it just one in one ear and out the other? You just ignore it completely, don't you?
Look, we've seen the juniors do well. All right, think about Ken Griffey Jr., for example. There's certainly plenty of some guy named Bonds. He had a pretty good career after his dad did as well. So on the baseball side of the equation, the NBA doesn't have that same. All right, your dad was a star, an all-star. You're an all-star type of that type of history. Bronny James may end up being a passable NBA player, may end up being a good NBA player. But right now, he is the biggest non-factor that you can imagine. He does. If Bronny James plays or doesn't play next year, the difference for the Lakers is 0 wins. All right, 0. If Bronny James is in any game, it's a 0 impact on the point spread, 0 point difference if he's in. And players like that, you don't spend time worrying about them, reading about them. At least I don't. You guys can do and spend your time however you choose to spend that time. Andy?
Yeah, real quick, we're going to bring in Jesse. We're going to talk some CFL. We're going to get to some soccer. What's your take on the NBA offseason so far? You mentioned a couple teams. Is there one that really jumped out to you that was like, oh, that team really, really made a splash? That team's going to be much better because, season win totals are just around the corner. You got your eye on a couple teams that you think are going to be improved?
Way early, but the Magic, I listed 3. The Magic got a lot better. The OKC Thunder are ready to compete for titles right now. And the Spurs are a team that's building something big right now. And, of course, the Knicks, who are clearly contenders in the East moving forward. So I guess those 4 teams stand out to me. But it's not like I've gone through methodically team by team. It's not that time of year. It's a time of year to do that in the NFL, which is what we're working on all week. Andy?
I'm happy. My Pacers got James Wiseman. I like some of these sneaky moves that my Pacers have done. Getting Obi Toppin for nothing was kind of
James Wiseman.
We're a small market. We're a small market team. We have to celebrate our wins, Teddy. Whenever we get anybody that decides to come here, we have to celebrate it. I laugh at the world that we're in, where Isaiah Hartenstein is seen as the guy that could put a team over the top. 2 years ago, nobody would have ever said that. Like, oh yeah, Hartenstein, yeah, that's the guy that's going to put him over the top. So let's bring in Jesse real quick. Jesse, I love that you're talking a little CFL. Love that we're talking a little Euro. First off, how have you been? Hope all is well. And we're going to talk England and Netherlands. You got a nice plus money play on this game.
Yeah, I'm doing all right. I had a decent weekend until Sunday, and things didn't go according to schedule there. But mark me safe from clicking on any Bronny James articles. I didn't fall victim to any of that. But I'm going to look at the England-Netherlands match in the Euro. Do you want me to get right into that, Andy?
Absolutely.
So England came into this tournament as the favorites, and they've been hugely disappointing, which might sound odd since they're in the semifinal, but their style of play has been very unattractive. The manager, Gareth Southgate, has been speculation that he'll get fired after the tournament unless they win it all. They play a very boring style, the English. They play not to lose rather than playing to win. They did manage to win on penalties against Switzerland. It was a very interesting penalty shootout. The English appeared to be well prepared. Their goalkeeper had a list of penalty takers on his water bottle, and which direction he anticipated they would be shooting. He was making faces at each penalty taker. It appeared to be very well practiced, and I think they're going to be very confident heading into the next match that if this game goes to penalties, they can indeed win, which is something that you don't normally associate with this English team. They've played 4 straight draws, Andy. Can they play a 5th straight draw? I think they can. The price is around plus 190 for the draw. Like I said, this Southgate, he plays a style designed to force a draw and try to win it late. And Netherlands isn't good enough, I don't think, to prevent England from turning this into a snooze fest. I wouldn't be surprised if it's 0-0 or 1-1 after 90 minutes.
So this is the semifinals, right? This is teams that have already beaten a bunch of teams to get here, right, Jesse?
Well, they beat a bunch of teams after 90 minutes, Teddy. They played 4 straight draws, but managed to advance each time.
Right, but Netherlands, both England and Netherlands have won games to get into this semifinal matchup. But you tell me that England's no good and Netherlands is no good. You're like, Netherlands isn't good enough to do anything and to stop them, and England's not good enough to they were playing this ugly style of hockey. Is one of these teams any good? Or is the thought process here, whoever wins this, we want to bet against them in the final? Talk to me about that for a moment.
I would say certainly the winner of the Spain-France match will be the favorite. Carmine will probably tell you that in about 5 minutes. But yeah, you make a strong point, Teddy. It is the semifinal, so how could I be down on both these teams? But they've both been very underwhelming and somewhat I mean, a team that's in the semifinal, you wouldn't think that they're talking about firing their coach, but they are. That's just what's happening. I gotta bring it, tell it how it is, you know?
Jesse, Schule, everybody. Jesse, I look at the England team when I feel the same way about their style of play as like the weather in England. It's just like blah. It's just nothing exciting. Just kind of gray, most of the time, kind of blah. So I'm with you. The draws have been quite the play in soccer. We're going to talk a little CFL. Strange year in CFL, at least from my perspective. You've got an Edmonton Elks team that's minus 200 this week on the money line. You've got backup quarterbacks and all kinds of strange things here. But you're looking here at the Montreal game, and I believe this is on Thursday. Talk to us about this Toronto-Montreal game.
I think you could say strange happenings are the norm in the CFL, Andy. But the Alouettes are the defending champs. They're 5-0. They come in averaging 31.5 points per game. They're at home against Toronto. They just played Toronto in Toronto 2 weeks ago. They won that game by a score of 30-20. I'm looking at their team total here, 29.5. It's juiced to the over at minus 120. I like it. This Argos team has lost back-to-back games. They're allowing 31 points per game on defense. Their quarterback, rookie Cam Dukes, got off to a great start in the first 2 games. The Argos won the first 2 games, and he threw 5 touchdowns, no picks. But the last 2 games, no touchdowns and 5 picks. And there is some speculation that the backup might come in to start this game. But Nick Arbuckle, the backup quarterback, has thrown for 6 touchdowns and 18 picks sporadically in games over the last 2 years in the CFL. So whoever starts for the Argos could be an issue for them. Turning over the ball should lead to more points for a very good Montreal team. Cody Fajardo and Tyson Philpott might be the best quarterback wide receiver duo in the CFL. A home game, 29.5 seems very reasonable for the Montreal Alouettes to score here.
You worried at all about any regression from this Montreal offense? Because this was a team, they're still dependent on their defense. Their defense has been lights out. But last year it was like, man, this offense doesn't really put up a whole lot of points. And now here they are, all of a sudden, one of the top offensive teams. Do you expect this to continue throughout the season, or do you expect a little regression moving forward?
Strong point, Andy. I don't think Fajardo is that guy that's going to lead the CFL in passing and be that stud of a quarterback. But when you play in front of an elite defense and you've got quarterbacks on the other side that are throwing picks, I think what regression looks like for Montreal is a 30-20 win here at home. And what not regression looks like is the 47 points they scored in their first home game against Ottawa. So yeah, regression or no regression, I expect 30 points minimum.
So, Jesse Schule, you've got some big streaks going right now, including 75% in the CFL since last year. You've got a huge run with your MLB 5% plays. Talk about some of those streaks. Talk about what you have going right now at WagerTalk.com.
Yeah, like I said, I'm coming off a bit of a bad Sunday. Those streaks, the long-term streaks are there. The CFL has been very kind to me, not just the last year, but the last decade. I like Major League Baseball as much as anybody, but I'm really looking forward to football season. College football is my passion, and I heard you guys talking about studying up for the NFL. For me, it's college football. I'm going to be studying up for the college game for the next month, and you can look forward to seeing plenty of preview videos on WagerTalk TV on YouTube from this guy right here.
Love it. 75% in this CFL is unbelievably impressive. That goes back to last year. That's a tough league to hit 75% in. So Jesse's got a good read on that sport. Absolutely. So Teddy, we're going to go to a big game breakdown, and we're going to go to Major League Baseball. Guardians and the Tigers. How do you expect this game to go?
Yeah, before I break down the Guardians and the Tigers, I do want to let you guys know about the huge special offer at WagerTalk.com. Again, 30-day all-access pass for $7 a day. It's normally priced $2.99. You can get it for just $2.10, and that includes every play in every sport from the handicapper of your choice, including any top-rated 5% plays that typically sell for $35 a pop. So don't miss out on the 30-day all-access package for just $7 a day. There is no promo code needed. Just visit WagerTalk.com to take advantage. Let's talk some MLB for Monday night. The Guardians and the Tigers. And right now, there's a huge difference between the standings. In the standing, Cleveland is 56-32. They have a plus 97 run differential. Detroit's 42-48. They have a minus 19 run differential. So we're talking about a 15-game difference in the standings, and what about 115 runs between the two teams so far? That's right now. When we look forward and say, what's the back half of this season going to look like? I don't think we're going to see a 15-game difference between the Guardians and the Tigers. I don't think we're going to see more than a 115-run differential between these two teams. I would call it much closer to pick 'em than 15-game difference over the back half of the season. Tigers are off their best series of the year, all right? I understand that they're dogs today. And again, looking at the WagerTalk live odds screen right now, Cleveland minus 140 here, total 8.5. But that might have been Detroit's best series all year. They just swept Cincinnati. A.J. Hinch, pretty clear and well-rounded from the group. Pretty much everyone has contributed the last couple games. It's fun to win. So Detroit's in good current form. Some of their young guys are starting to step up. And Cleveland has a starter who should not be starting an MLB game. All right. Gavin Williams is here only because of injuries. Obviously, when you talk about some of the guys that Cleveland has that are hurt right now, there's a bunch of them. But he's also a guy who didn't show really any signs. He missed the first 3 months of the season with a right elbow injury. They had him at AAA. He didn't pitch well there. They dropped down to AA. And all of a sudden, he's in the big leagues. He made his first start of the season last Wednesday, gave up 5 runs, 7 hits, 4 innings, 74 pitches. He only walked 2 batters. He only struck out 1 batter while walking 2. Here's the quote from Guardians manager Stephen Vaught. Quote, "He has to get back to executing. It might take him a couple of times, but he showed some signs." That's not a bet on quote for this bettor, especially against a Tigers team that's playing their best ball of the year right now. Give me Detroit at the plus price. I think these two teams are closer than their records would indicate, and I think this is legitimate value on the Detroit side of the equation here. So give me Tigers plus price. There's your big game breakdown. Back to you, Mr. Lane.
There's nothing better than a big game breakdown with a quote. Anytime, Teddy, anytime you're like, listen to this quote, I'm all in. You got my full attention with that. So, and yes, that quote is about as confident as the English weather that we were talking about earlier. We have a really good question regarding college football here from the YouTube Shorts chat. Shout out to everybody in the chat, Justin, Have, Titans, Daryl, all you guys. But Carmine, of course, in the chat. So, Teddy, this is for you. And I thought about this. How do you prepare for the season in college football to account for all the transfer activity? It's players and it's teams moving conferences. This feels like a little bit of a circus. So, how do you attack this college football season?
Carefully and methodically. Okay, let me be very clear. The odds makers don't know what's going to happen. The wise guys don't know what's going to happen. And certainly the casual bettors don't know what's going to happen. There is a potential. This reminds me a little bit of the COVID year when there felt like there's going to be a whole lot of randomness. You're going to have to figure stuff out on the fly. In college football, basically, any guide that you've read, your Phil Steeles of the world, they're going to be outdated. They're going to be already obsolete by the beginning of August. When you talk about the transfer portals and the players coming in and the players coming out and the late coaching changes, I mean, it's insane what's happened in college football. So the answer for me, at least, is I'm trying to do as little in terms of pre-formed opinions early. I've done all my NFL work. I haven't done all my college work. The college work comes when camps open, and we're going to cram college because all the data from before then is going to be obsolete. So we're going to cram college in August, and we're going to tread lightly, and we're going to absolutely take advantage of the overreactions in the betting markets after week 1 and week 2, because we see it every year. You know, teams are going to look good in week 1 and week 2 that aren't that great. Teams are going to look bad in week 1 and week 2 that aren't that bad. And we're going to make money taking the teams that look good early and fading them, and taking the teams that look bad early and betting on them once we get into September. So, I mean, that's basically my thought process of how I want to approach it. Great question. But the answer is there's more uncertainty this year in college football than in any other year since I've been in Las Vegas, and I've been here since 1998. The only comparable year was the COVID year. And even that wasn't this, because that had the personnel was changing week by week. COVID year, that's not going to happen here. One would hope.
Yeah. One other piece of advice I would add to this is something that I really, really harp on, is that don't try and be an expert with every college team. Like, try and narrow it down. If you're a fan of a conference and you think you know certain teams, maybe just try and focus on those. Or if if you feel like you have a good read on one team, it's going to be impossible to try and know every single team and every single conference. I think you'll drive yourself crazy trying to figure all those out. You disagree with that?
Well, that's my job. I mean, that's why I do this full time. And, most of my clients do not do this full time. They have a job. It's my job to know every team. All right. I'm not going to look you in the eye and say, yeah, I'm going to tell you that I'm going to be able to break down the two deep from Louisiana versus Louisiana Monroe. Not going to. But it's our job to have a working knowledge of every single team out there, so that when the opportunities present themselves, at least in my opinion. And again, it's different for different cappers. I'm a heavy football guy, so I consider that as part of my job description. I got to know what's going on with Jacksonville State every bit as much as I have to know what's going on with Ohio State. But at the same time, having a working knowledge is not possible, or not an intimate working knowledge, not possible for 133 teams every week. It's not. So certainly given that assessment, but as many as you can, at least that's what I try to do at any given time. And of course, all it takes is one team that you have a good read on, and you make money with them. So you don't need them all. You just need one.
But and that's why I invest in guys like you who know these teams way more than I do. I'm not a big college football guy. I pick my spots, but I turn to people like you that follow all these teams much more closely than I do. Let's bring in Carmine. We're going to talk some soccer here, and to the surprise of no one, he has to do a game involving Canada. That minus 3,000 cashes on Carmine talking about a Canadian team. But Carmine, I have to bring this streak up. 16, 2, and 4 soccer totals since the start of Euros. That is unbelievable, man. Like, your totals have been absolutely dynamite. Why? Any particular reason
Yeah.
why you've been having such success with the totals?
It's I'm using like not only XG you can find online, but my own XG formula. But I had to pivot in these tournaments, and because even though I was a little bit profitable on side selections and a couple props, I just wasn't anywhere near where it should have been. And then I started to focus more on totals and went on a great run. And if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And that's the that's the approach I've taken to the tournament. We've been hitting some good ones. I made sure that anyone who bought the three tournament summer package also got any of the MLS plays that were going on, because I thought MLS could be you could sort of manipulate that league because so many of the players are gone, and the depth in the MLS teams just isn't there. And we've hit a couple pretty much slam dunk 5% plays in MLS in back-to-back weeks. So, won a first half winner on a total. And then this past weekend, Columbus beating Toronto, a team that I'm a season ticket holder for, 4-0. I was surprised when the line came out, and I jumped all over it and got my clients on it as well, too. So there's only a few games left, and then the next tournament starts, which is the Leagues Cup, all Mexican club teams and all MLS teams. The Leagues Cup, and that starts in a couple weeks' time, 10 days' time, I think, to be exact. And I'm looking forward to that as well.
Well, let's start off with Spain versus France. Let's talk about who you like to advance. And can you also clarify, just make sure we know the difference between to win and to advance, and who you like to advance in this game?
Yeah, so a couple of things here. When you look at the line of this game, it's very attractive on the three-way line. If you have a strong opinion on the game, you're getting plus money across the board. Spain's plus 170 as the favorites. The draws plus 186. France plus 206. But if you're taking one of those three, you have to win within 90 minutes, and any injury time they add usually 3 to 4 minutes at the end of that 90 minutes. The minute the game goes to extra time, and it very well could go to extra time this game, your bet on the three-way line is a loser unless you took the draw. So if you took Spain or France, it's a loser. The handicap on this one, the two-way handicap, is a pick'em. So you have Spain as a pick'em minus 125, France as a pick'em at plus 105. If the game goes 90 minutes, if it's tied after 90 minutes and goes to extra time, your bet is a push. Sometimes that is the better option when you have a pick'em line, to avoid ending up with a loss when your team actually wins in extra time. The to advance just means who is going to make it to the finals. It doesn't matter how they get there, whether it's in 90 minutes, whether it's in extra time, or whether it goes to penalty kicks and they win in penalty kicks. So you look at this one, and I'm looking at France to advance, and here's a few reasons why. Listen, Spain has been one of the best teams in this tournament. 11 goals. They're the highest scoring team or nation in this tournament. But, I look at their road to getting to where they are right now, the semifinals. And we talk about playing weak teams. And I know Jesse was talking about that a little while ago with like England. But you look at Spain, they played Croatia, who are pretty much non-competitive in this whole tournament, and end of the golden generation for a lot of those players that have featured in the 2018 World Cup, where they made it to the finals against France. They played Albania, 66th ranked nation in the world as far as FIFA goes, and the second highest in this tournament, only Georgia at 75. And then they played Italy, who I think I could find 11 guys in chat that we could probably beat the Italian team. They just cannot score. And that was one of the biggest things coming into this tournament. I said, Italy were going to be a non-factor because they just could not score. And they proved me right on that one. So I think their toughest game came when they played Germany, and that game eventually went to extra time. Spain scored in the 119th minute, a minute before penalties, of course. But Germany outplayed them for big parts of that game, held the XG advantage in that one, 203 to 146. I think Spain got away with one, and now they're playing France. And here's the thing with France is you look at how France has got here, absolutely ugly. In the way they have gotten here. They have not scored a goal from open play in this whole tournament. 3 goals scored. 2 of them have come by own goals. by Belgium and Austria in 1-0 victories, and then they scored a penalty kick in a 1-1 draw against Poland. They go to penalty kicks in their last game, and they win there. The thing with France is they can win ugly because they have a phenomenal defense, probably the best of all nations. They have a very good midfield, and their forwards haven't come together yet. But at some point, you believe they will. This is why I'd rather take the France to advance, because if this goes to penalty kicks, I want the France team who have been there before, know how to win in penalty kicks. And this is a team that relies on experience. They've made 4 of the last 5 major tournaments they've played in. They've made it to at least the semifinals. They're World Cup winners in 2018, lost to Argentina in the World Cup finals in 2022. This team has a wealth of experience on it. And then the final thing is there's some players missing for Spain. Dani Carvajal picked up 2 yellow cards. He's unavailable for this one, a big part and a leadership role in this team. One of their defenders, Robin Lenormand, he's out for this game as well, too, suspended. And then probably the biggest one, midfield, that fuels your team, Pedri, injured and will not play. I think he's done for the tournament as a whole. So when you're not 100%, and I know they've got guys who can fill in. Obviously, Danny Olmo in midfield can fill in. I still say France has the advantage here. I won't take them at plus 206 because I think this game goes to extra time. I will take France to advance to the finals in this one at minus 105.
France to advance. The man's a poet. He doesn't even know it. Yeah. There's my humor for today. France to advance. Let's talk about Canada and Argentina. I thought you gave an excellent breakdown of why France is the play and why they're not the play in regulation, but they're the play to advance. We talk about China and Argentina. Canada and Argentina. All I've heard is Canada's playing great. Canada's lucky to be here. Canada's playing great. Canada's lucky to be here. Well, the odds are saying Canada's likely to go home. What are they now? Plus $9 on the 3-way line. Even the draw is plus $4 here. Argentina's going to whip this team, aren't they?
You would think so, and you're right. Canada is playing great, but I think you take that with a grain of salt. I don't think anyone expected Canada to be in the semifinals of this Copa America. A new manager, of course, American Jesse Marsh, taking over this team. He actually says he felt Canadian being in that dressing room and having guys like Sidney Crosby coming in after the game in which they beat Venezuela in penalty kicks. But you got, when I look at this, Argentina is just by far the best team, not only in this tournament, I believe, but in the world. This is a team with just a wealth of talent and a wealth of talent on their bench. I think they could field 11 guys off their bench and likely win this game as well, too. No disrespect to Canada in this one, but you look at the first game. These two teams played and opened the tournament back on June 20th, match day 1. I believe that game was in Atlanta, Mercedes-Benz Arena. And final score was 2-0 in that one, but Argentina held pretty much every single metric that you could mention. Time of possession, 63-37. Shot attempts, 19 shot attempts, 10 shots on goal. And their XG number was 3.38 to 1.0. They dominated that game, and it was their first game again. And I always think that teams struggle a little bit in their first game. And now here we are. We're into the semifinals. This team is playing extremely well. And I think Canada, after 2 big and physical games, again, having played Peru, the Chile one, even the game against Venezuela, were physical games for this team. I just don't know what is left in the tank for this team right now. And I think it's just, I'm not saying Argentina is going to just roll over them, but I don't see Canada scoring. And I think the better option is, because the line is at 1.5 on Argentina and could possibly go to 1.75. People love to bet on game day, so the public will be all over Argentina. You can take Argentina to win to 0. Some books listed as win to 0, which means basically they're going to win the game and not get scored on, and the price is minus 145. I like that price, and it's going to be part of my card on Tuesday as well, too. So Argentina win to 0. It's been a great run by Canada, but Argentina is heading to another finals here. I don't think anyone can dispute that. It would be a monumental upset, almost a miracle on ice, Teddy. And Herb Brooks isn't behind the bench on this one.
Carmine Bianco and Carmine. Anthony Cortez from TikTok agrees with you wholeheartedly. For France, he likes their experience, and he says their trainer conditions the team very well. They should win, no problem. So you've got one big fan on that play. Tell everyone what you have up at WagerTalk.com.
So a couple cards, Tuesday and Wednesday cards, both Copa America and the Euros. Obviously, the England game goes on Wednesday, and then the interesting game in Copa America, the Uruguay Colombia game, which is going to be a good game. Colombia hasn't lost in 27 games. Their last loss was to Argentina in World Cup qualifying, and if they make it to the finals, they'll get to meet Argentina and see if they can exact a little bit of revenge. So a couple cards up for Tuesday and Wednesday. We'll have some other cards up. That Wager Talk deal is fantastic. We're off to a good start in July already, up 28 units, 73% across all plays. I think there's about 28 plays that I've released, hitting at over 70%, up 28 units. We're going to keep it going. So pick up that deal, $210 for 30 days. It's a great deal.
Thank you, Carmine. Teddy, you ever seen so many soccer teams make it to the semifinals that we don't think are very good? Feels
Yeah,
like
I'm trying to figure who the good team is. Yeah. And apparently there's none, because France is bad too, and they're the ones we're betting on, which is all good. I get it. It's not always about who the best team is. It's about who's finding ways to win. And you can make money betting on some ugly teams sometimes. That may be the case in the Euros again this year. So fun doing a show with you, Andy. I can't remember when you hosted and I was sitting in this chair before, but I really enjoyed it today. Should we do it tomorrow?
I think you're going to be with the very talented Kelly Stewart for the rest of the week. Kelly making a summer appearance here for the rest of the week. So you guys get that treat, and try to keep up, Teddy. She's a whirlwind of energy.
I've been doing media with Kelly for more than a decade now, legitimately. So I look forward to that. And again, we'll be back again tomorrow with another edition of Wager Talk Today. Between now and tomorrow's show, enjoy the games. Best of luck with all your wagers. And be sure to check out that 30-day all-access pass deal right now at WagerTalk.com. Cheers.